Hi.
Hi.
Hey. So, nice to meet you guys. We met last night.
We did.
Yes. Kev. Yes. Dylan. Yeah, it's your Kev. I'm Dylan.
Right.
Sharon.
Dylan.
Yes. So, welcome to the Trident. Yeah. That's where
I'm in heaven.
Yes. So you guys, you do music, from what I understand?
Yes, we do.
So I know very little about you, so why don't you tell me a little bit about music? Like what's the deal?
Okay. To make a short story even shorter for you guys, started off as a band project. We decided to take about 11 or 12 songs from the glam era and turn them into something a little bit more now and today. So we turned some into like symphonic pieces. We turned some into highly dramatic, melodramatic pieces. But basically, this 4-chord rock and roll,
Right.
that we completely expanded and screwed up into this glam.
So you took 12 songs, you said from the glam era. Are they all glam songs, or are they from different genres?
Yeah, no, they're pretty much all glam songs.
Yeah.
Like, we were gonna do an Iggy Pop song, didn't do it. We did T-Rex, we did Alice Cooper, we did Japan, thank you. And so we finished this album.
Yeah.
And we called the band Mercuretto. Remember that?
Where'd the name Mercuretto come from? That's kind of interesting.
That's a good question. It's the short, abbreviated version of Mercury retrograde. Okay. Now, for all you astrologers out here, I'm being redundant.
You wanna be my toy?
It means that it's moving from our position here on Earth backwards in the sky. Okay. So from our perspective, it's like mind backwards.
Right.
And there's actually statistical analysis that proves every time in the sky Mercury goes retrograde, car accidents go up, traffic jams go up. Yeah, things get pretty screwed up in the human world. Anyway, so it seemed to be the best name. Tanya, you didn't know the background singer came up with that. I shouldn't say background singer, she's the lead singer in this band. And so there we had the name of the band. And it seemed to suit where we went with the image.
Right.
Because the image is very 40s and fedoras and
Right.
fun ties.
So you took these 12 glam songs, kind of gave them a polish and put a modern, kind of fresh spin on them.
Yeah.
And you've got this concept of Mercuretto, Mercury, and retrograde. It's sort of like so there's a concept behind the whole album. So it's not just a bunch of independent covers. There's like a theme that's kind of pulling the album together, I guess.
Yeah, well, the theme is actually just the feel and the backward sense of, when you take a 4-chord T-Rex song, brilliant song, by the way, 20th Century Boy for anybody who's listening. And then you turn it into, we did 2 versions. One sounds almost like a cowboy western version. How do I feel today? And then you just sing it that way. And it's like, I have an acting background, like an extensive acting background, because way back to when I was about 14, So for me, every song was like getting into a different character.
Right.
You know, today I'm somebody who speaks like this. And the next day I'm actually quite lovely and I'm talking like this. And so every time I had to take a lead, it was like, I don't know, what character do I feel today?
So there's a theatrical kind of sensibility in the Mercuretto project.
Yeah. Big time.
Yeah. So how did that theatrical kind of approach, how's that manifested? How's that, what kind of things have come from that? I mean, there's the music.
Yeah.
And I guess there's some other ideas and things that you guys have sort of spitballed or, kind of brainstormed around the whole Mercuretto project?
Yeah. Well, what we... and now we take it to level 2. We started to construct the website and the imaging for the band about, I don't know, mid last fall. And so I came up with the fedoras and the, suits and ties and stuff like that. And then I started to work on things like logo and then the guys were sending in their bios. And, I'm a musician, and a musician, and all the guys are pro musicians. And I'm reading these bios and I go, I'm thinking about myself being on the other side of the computer screen, being a potential Mercuretto fan. I'm going, boring. Not that the guys don't have their own glorious work to, but it's like, I want to know something more, right? And so I started to write these fictional bios for the actual players in the band. Given...
So like you're saying, you play a character, you're kind of making up characters for everyone else.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, right? And it's, believe me, it's very loosely based.
Yeah.
But, so I started off with the bass player, John. John's a very stoic guy, he's a bass player, he's got 2 looks, grim and kind of happy, but then back to grim. And, that's John's thing, right? So I wrote him a character, Johnny the Nose James, right? So he's a Greek mafioso suddenly, grew up in Chicago, gun runner, booze runner, but makes a great deli sandwich and loves soft furry animals, kind of deal. So
that kind of deal, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, so I'm having fun with this. And then somewhere en route, I'm sending them out to the guys just for a laugh. I'm going, I don't know, I'm feeling story here, right? So I just start riffing on, I don't know, pretend we're in the 40s. And pretend there's a crisis in 2000 plus, right, in the 21st century. And pretend it's the global New World Order taking over. Ooh. And then, well, how do these guys, and what kind of guys are they? Why do they get into the future? And so I just ripped a page and I showed it to my beloved co-writer and said, this is fun. And so Sharon, who's an actual writer as opposed to an actor-singer guy who comes up with goofy ideas, we started working on it and shaping it. And we grew the characters, and we grew the storyline. And then we have part 2 of the Mercuretto, the band part 1, which is, a semi-animated or animated storyboard with several episodes that are, they're fun, but there's social satire. Social satire is a big one, by the way, in this bit. We're making fun of the goofiness of humanity.
Right.
Because if you don't laugh, you gotta cry, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
we have a Ford now as premier of Ontario. That's a perfect example.
You had to tell us neither of us went online this morning.
Oh God!
I heard that one this morning from Shane.
So I'm sorry. I would have softened the blow if I'd known that.
It's not a big surprise, but yeah. Case in point.
You have to laugh. That's all.
You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. So yeah.
Right. So we've had these characters.
Yeah.
Kind of made up some scenarios and some kind of themes, and then you picked it up from there. And
yeah, well, Kevin really came up with a lot of the, as you said, the initial characters, and and the concept of time of these people who have alternative identities. They're wealthy industrialists in the 40s, but kind of see themselves as misfits, as outsiders. All of them are written that way. So he came up with this concept of them banding together, for some reason. We were trying to develop this, and coming to the future with some kind of heroic purpose. So basically a cast of characters who have been driven by selfish interests, now rising to try and do something for the benefit of humanity. Again, partly for selfish interests, but I think that's going to be part of the storyline going forward, is how these characters who have been just self-motivated, have their own kind of awakening. And this is some more serious, the serious bit underlying the social satire of the series, I think, is how the characters will develop over the series and confront kind of war with their own selfishness or desire not to step up and be heroic, and their own ignorance of what's really called for, of what they've taken on, because they've come to the future with this mission initiated by really a couple of the characters, that they need to save humanity from the global elite, the money benders of today who are going to taking over. But they don't really know what it is that they're getting into, of course, because they're from the past. And
they don't know about reality TV or...
They don't know, no, and that's going to be
Plastic Islands.
A lot of the humor of the series is coming from their position of ignorance of what today's reality is like, and we think that a lot of people will connect with that because they are overwhelmed by technology, overwhelmed by the newness of everything and the pace of today. They don't understand it. And they're older. These characters are all kind of more middle-aged, so it's harder for them to adapt and change. But I think that's a lot of the humor will come from that, and I think people will really resonate with their situation of kind of being newbies.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, like having that outsider perspective.
Yeah.
That, they're not aliens, they're time travelers. So
Yeah.
Just as a note in the writing, I wanted to give at least one of our characters superpowers.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Should you lie? No superpowers.
No superpowers. No, just
we have enough of that
real
now?
people.
Yeah.
I was catering to my own inner nerd here, guys.
Yeah.
That'll be the next band. They'll be superheroes, maybe.
Yeah.
Album 2.
Yeah.
So they're more like Charles Lindbergh and Rockefellers and those type of characters. And
although people
Amelia Earhart.
Yes. That's actually a good example, because people, I think, characters who've seen themselves as quite fringe, even though they've amassed wealth in somewhat dubious ways, who do not see themselves as part of the accepted elite, maybe wanted to be at one point, but but aren't. And I think that's again part of their outsider perspective, is they do have wealth, but they're not identified with. None of them grew up, except for one character. None of them grew up rich. We have one aristocratic character.
Right.
Yeah, but he's the one who's maybe going to be morally a little the weak link. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
So you work up these episodes.
Yeah.
And they're very kind of satirical, kind of like comic, almost like comics. Like they're satirical. I'm thinking like Mad Magazine, but obviously more sophisticated than that. And there's music involved in it. Yes. I mean, I also think of like Pink Floyd, The Wall a little bit, where you're talking about animation and music and this big story.
Yes.
Obviously, the tone of The Wall is all kind of heavy and introspective, and this is more lighthearted.
Yeah.
Still satirical, so there's things to think about.
Yeah.
Do you see any interplay between kind of the imagery and the characters, the storylines that you're generating in this writing piece with possibly a stage performance piece? as you're performing these, if you're touring with the album or something. That was an aspect of what happens with other concept albums, like The Wall, for example. They had a film, and then when they do the show, they've got a wall on stage, or they'll project the animation. Or I'm just wondering if you had any ideas along those lines, or.
No, but I'm gonna write that
Yeah,
down.
excellent. You've got my card, so
I got your card.
I have a consultant, right?
Right here,
I can jump in. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I'm actually from the '40s myself, so.
Yeah, I think as things go full circle, Dylan, there will be blowback from the whole story that we've created back to the stage. But to be honest with you, and the circle in my brain didn't quite close up to that point. So that is truly a missing little link. Thank you.
Well, it's as I've been hearing about this project, it's kind of what occurs to me. When I think about other musical, theatrical, rock, fusion kind of projects like Rocky Horror Picture Show, things like that, where there's a stage and a character and a costume concept kind of construct on top of it. Seems like it's all of a piece, right? That the band and the music and those performers are at the center of it, right? And then it's just different ways to express, that central idea. It comes out in music, comes out as characters, comes out as narratives. So I'm excited to see how it evolves, because it's still fairly new. When did you record the music? When was it?
Oh, geez, we recorded that album over, I think it took us about 2.5 years. So we finally finished it about mid-year last year, had it mastered, and then started to, as much as you ever can when you make an album, kind of get some objectivity to it. And of course, phase 2, which we talked about, which was the imaging of the band.
Yep.
And then, boop.
So the next step, we're talking about capturing these narratives in some kind of linear video form, possibly. I guess that's the thing. It's still kind of the clay is still wet.
Yes.
So looking for possibly people to come in with I don't know, distributors or anyone interested in getting involved in a music film project with money. Money helps.
Money doesn't hurt. Yeah. I think the next logical thing is I think Sharon and I have taken it as far as it can go for now, until we'd like other very creative people's inputs and go, oh yeah, but if you did that and turned it this way, and then maybe a little bit on
So someone maybe from a film background or a music video background looking at this going, oh wow, I love these themes you're coming up with. Oh, that character's awesome. So just come in and join the collaboration, I guess. Sign up for the craziness.
Because there's a lot of, sign up for the craziness, because there's a lot of really interesting layers to this that we hope will be attractive to people, because there's, of course, the time travel aspect of the story, and that it's humorous, but it's got a social satire aspect to it, so that's very, it's got a serious element to it, but also that it has music. So the cover story of the wealthy industrialists is that they're musicians, and
they suck.
And they suck, but they get better. That's how we see it. Is that they get better over time. So that and I would see it as a writer that the music starts to really have its own kind of effect and somehow integrate with their heroic project. I think there's a lot of potential there for that.
I hadn't considered that. I mean, you were talking about how they're from the 40s, so they're outsiders to our world. They don't understand technology and fast food, but they also would have skipped the 70s, so they wouldn't have.
It's all new to them.
They wouldn't have seen punk rock or a lot, or even Elvis. The 50s. They missed all those steps in the progression of music. So to them, that music might even be a way to help them process the modern world.
Oh, I think that's exactly how I see what's happening and what's going to happen with these characters. It's also going to bring them in contact with people in a different way, and I think the music's going to move them in an interesting way, and it's going to inspire them. And I think it's an interesting way to share the music with other people too, because as Kevin said, the band has approached these songs in a very unusual way. They haven't like just covered them. They've
I love the sound. I heard the tracks.
completely unstructured them and done twisted them around, and I think that makes it really fun and fresh and interesting. So the music element of the story, I think, gives it this whole wonderful perspective that you could do a lot with. And what we have right now visually as an interpretation doesn't necessarily have to be the interpretation. That's what we came up with, but
we were talking about the band and the music pulling them together, that maybe they kind of suck at the beginning and then maybe it looks like the band's going to break up, but then they pull together. You know, that kind of a narrative. You see that sometimes in music films. Like I was just thinking of The Replacements. I don't know if you remember that film. That they're Irish and they want to have a band and they do these auditions and it's sort of a disaster. But then the music, as they start playing these old blues classics, they start seeing the truth in that music, and then it makes them realize why the band's important.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
It's a really fun arc.
I see something similar probably happening with these characters as they initially don't know what they're getting into, of course, but so there's a lot of development that can happen there.
So do you see? So currently, the narrative that you've come up with is serialized into like 6-minute stories or 10-minute stories? Or?
6 to 8 minutes per episode. That's what we were thinking, and we've written sort of summaries for the first half dozen. We could write a few more. Slipstream quality that the story has, where there's time travel. It's got a bit of like that kind of comic book feel of the underdogs coming to save the future, like the way they see themselves and all of that.
And there's a playfulness, I think, about the way the story is the tone of it, which I think is it lends itself well to animation, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you see? In terms of a style of animation, is there any? When we talked about the wall a little bit, but
we both thought Sin City was kind of what we had in mind, but this is the realm where we are not animators, so our knowledge of that world is quite limited. But that was something that we were kind of keying off of when we were writing it.
I mean, myself, I tend to want to relate that in terms of texture and feel as opposed to specific styles. I just don't really know the specific styles.
So then, in terms of collaborators that you're open to, even like an illustrator or a character designer, or someone that is like, wow, I really dig what you guys are doing. Here's my take on it. So you guys are definitely open to hearing from.
Well, that's what I meant earlier on when I was reflecting about Sharon. I've taken it for now as far as it can go, because it's time. I think we're both really, really highly agreed on this. Because it's time to let the pros who do, who bring the rest of it to the picture. Let them, take charge of it. Well, if you did this way,
cool. Well, I think that's a great overview of the whole thing. Thanks. I can't wait to see it. Thanks for phase 3.
Phase 3. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.